Peace and blessings. This is Forward Progress. My name is Carlos Walker, and today we're with Mr. John Hall Sr. Peace and blessings. How you doing, bro?
Peace. I'm good, good. How you doing?
Man, life is perfect, man. So, before we jump into
Yeah,
anything, I want you to share who you are and what you do.
I'm a I'm a lead at Flowers Bakery on third shift. And I just go in there and maintain. Just do what I've been striving to do. The whole time I was incarcerated, I kept on telling myself, like I'm gonna come home and do the right thing. Show my kids and my family that I ain't just a waste of time.
Okay, so let's jump into your story. You did how much time, if you don't mind me asking?
I did 12 years.
Okay, so before you went to prison, tell me a little bit about your backstory.
I mean, just like a regular individual, man. I grew up father. My father passed away when I was 14, but my family was there. I was well sheltered, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Went to college, went for a year. Dropped out, and I kind of like lost direction after that. I kind of went the wrong way, made the bad choices, bad decisions. Which kind of landed me to where I was at. Me being doing all that time.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what was your crime, or what did you do?
It was some gun charges, shooting charges, and like gang participation and all that stuff. But that's definitely over with. I paid my dues. I definitely paid my debt to society with that, and I'm looking forward now.
The only reason why I'm asking these questions because we're going to evolve into where you are at now. But in order for people to understand how you made your transition and to gather or to see what forward progress it looks like, we got to dig into the
Yeah,
depth.
of
So
course.
I want you to dig a little deeper. Share with them who you were, how things led up to that.
I mean, I grew up in Diamond Hill area, basically like White Rock, Diamond Hill, all that stuff. Like, kind of when I got out of school, like I said, my direction was going the wrong way, which led me to the streets. Doing a lot of things like that. Selling drugs and things I wasn't supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, that I caught a drug charge back in '08. I did like 2 years for that, and I came home in 2010, and I was home from January 19th, 2010. I got locked up August. I think it was like August the 4th or the 5th of 2010. I was only home like 8 months and some change. And that was the last time I was out there. I came home August 29th, 22. And, by being in there, reading and just focusing on, the better picture, the bigger picture, I be coming across a lot of guys and they're talking about how done this and done that and they done had all this and had all this money and all that stuff, but they ain't had no food for it. They ain't had no soups in their box, none of that stuff, you know what I mean?
State of feds.
Well, I was in the state. I was in Virginia State. Yeah,
Okay.
but just like hearing about like the mistreatment of the kids, like the father not being present and all that stuff, like that played a big role on me wanting to come home and do better as well, because it ain't no joke in that, man. Like, them people don't care about you for real. If you don't have good support from the outside, where like your family members can call the DOC and complain about certain situations that you're going through, like it's gonna be tough. Like it's definitely gonna be tough, man. You know what I mean? But I just try to keep focused and try to do a lot of things differently because I kind of felt like the way I was moving, how I was acting wasn't working. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and change my whole mentality, the whole thought process up. You know what I'm saying? Like on some positive things. I start speaking more like intellectually. It's like speaking more respectfully to people. How you doing? Thank you. Excuse me. Like all those things played a role into my development, into who I am now.
Before we jump all the way into the prison part, on the day that you either got sentenced or while you was in the jail, waiting to get sentenced, tell me about the emotions that you felt. because I'm assuming now that you already had your children, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You already had your children. You were in prison or in jail, and you're about to get your time. Tell me the emotional uh, aspect of it. What did you feel?
I mean, well, the worst thing is my youngest daughter, like, she was, like, her mother was pregnant with her while I was going through all this. So, like, her whole life, I was incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother story in itself with her, me and my youngest. You know, my oldest, my other two, like, I was in their life. Like, my oldest, she be 17 this year. She was like 3 when I left the streets. And then my son, he was 1 about to turn 2. So, like, they was little small babies, you know. Then I really kind of understood the severity of my charges and the crime I committed. So I'm like, I'm gonna be gone for a minute. You know what I mean? So it was stressful. It was emotional. But at the end of the day, like, I kind of put myself in a state that I did this to myself. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else did it. You know, I took full ownership, took full blame. You know what I'm saying? So I won't go be upset with nobody but myself, depending on like how my kids was raised. You know, I can't be mad if they get mistreated and all that because I'm not there. You know, I'm not present. You know what I'm saying? And then I always told myself, don't stress about stuff I can't control. You know what I mean? But that was definitely it definitely played like a big part of my like emotions, like stress, how I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? Then I knew like I had just came home. Like I was only home 8 months. So the probation I got over my head and all that stuff too. Like I'm like, man, these people about to smoke me, you know what I mean?
How much time did they actually give you? Was it what, 14, 15?
No, it gave me 22 years and they suspended 9. And
Okay.
I had like some weed charges too, like go into that. So I ended up with like 13. I ended up with 13 years, 9 months. But when I looked at my release date, my paper, it said 12 years, 21 months. So I ended up breaking it down to 13 years, 9 months.
So now we're going to go into your prison life or the time that you spent while you were there. Because prison is, like you said, difficult in many ways. Mentally, physically, your body wants to be out. It's a whole different aspect. You are in technically a concrete jungle.
Yeah.
What did you see while you was there? Because you was in Virginia system. I've done 2 years in Virginia, but the rest of my time was in federal prison. What did you see? What was the aspect like when you were at the prison that you was at? What was it like?
I mean, the first joint I went to, I went to Power Time Receiving. You know what I'm saying? That's like a little reception joint you go to before you get classified, for they send you to your spread or wherever you're going, right? So when I first got there, you know, that joint right there and like right there next to Richmond, like it's right there, you know what I mean? So they call it the State Farm. So it's mostly, you know, minorities, like, you know, black people there. You know what I'm saying? So it was chilling, you know, like, it was laid back. It was a lot of things that was happening, you know what I'm saying? We didn't really get too much of that, but the joint was all right. It was all right. But, you know, I was there for probably like a month and change. And then they sent me to Pocahontas, which was 3.5 hours from Lynchburg. Like that joint was like over there near West Virginia. And that one, I was only there for a year, but that was like for real. That spot and the last spot I was at before I came home was like the worst spots I ever been at pertaining to with me, my time, because there was a wake up call. Like, as soon as I hit the joint, like, you got big brolic COs, like, you know, they chewing tobacco, you know, that's up there in West Virginia, up in the hills, you know what I'm saying? So they said they took the whole mountain and just blew a big chunk off of it and built Pocahontas right there. You know what I mean? Then it's like the coal mines and all that stuff, them joints shut down. So majority of them became COs. You know what I mean? So had to deal with all that. You know what I'm saying? I just seen people like dudes are getting to it. Like this one dude got into it with a celly. It was a black guy and a white guy. The black guy's shirt ended up getting taken off, and he ain't had them but his jeans and no socks, no shoes, nothing, and no shirt. And this was like January, you know what I'm saying, up there. Like it was snow, probably about a foot of snow up there. They walked that man out the park, down the boulevard, like that. You know what I'm saying? Handcuffed. His celly stayed in the cell, which was, you know, the white guy. Like he stayed in the cell, like ain't nothing happened to him, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like where's the remorse? Like where's the like where you care about this man at? Like show us somewhere where you care about us. Like put a jacket on, make sure you put the shoes on. Like you got him handcuffed. You know what I'm saying? So like that was like my first week there. I'm like, damn, this was going on up here. And it got to the point where every day, like it was a level 2, 3, but they like, yo, we ran it like a 4 or 5. I'm like, well, that ain't how it's supposed to go. Like if you got a 4 or 5 facility, run it like that. But if it's a level 2, 3, run it like a 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? Like give us more freedom, give us more liberties to do things and go places. You know what I'm saying? Just a simple fight in the park can happen. Whole building locked down for a week because they thinking it's gang related. They don't want nobody to retaliate and all that stuff. But you got the guys isolated. You got them out of the building. But yet and still, we on lockdown for a whole week. And then sometimes I look out the cell window and see the guys that got the fighting. They in another building on the rec yard, and we still on lock.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And like that just plays a big part on you. Then like certain things like with cell break, like you might come out the cell, like they give you 5 minutes I think it's like every 30 minutes, every hour to go get what you need out the cell, and that's it. Like you can't go back in there. So it wasn't a bathroom in the pod. So the only way for us to get into the cell, like the only way for us to use the bathroom is to go into the cell. So we would ask them like, yo, can you let me in the cell so I can use the bathroom? They like, you gotta wait the cell break. I'm like, so I gotta wait to go into my cell. They like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just those little things. Like you mean to tell me I can't go inside? Like I understand me coming out at a certain time, but to go in to use a bathroom, I gotta wait. You know what I'm saying? Like those little things like just add up to just the mental breakdown that you go through. They ain't even physical. Like they don't even like ain't had none of them put their hands on me, but I've seen them do that to people. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine that on top of the physical. You know what I'm saying?
So, at what point did you decide to say, you know what? I know you said in the jail you had, but what point did you decide to make the change that you was gonna come out and be a better you?
It was
What
it was
what
it
sparked
was
it?
a time like I think I was like 3 or 4 years in. You know, I stayed in contact with a couple of my good friends I grew up with. You know, and it's like with me speaking with them and hearing about their progression and how they moving forward in their lives, that really let me know like, yo, I could do it because these my brothers kind of, you know what I'm saying? I came up with these guys as youngins. And the things that they're doing, I know for a fact if I was there, I'd be able to accomplish all those things. Like a couple of my homeboys, they got cribs, married, what I mean, successful brothers, you know what I'm saying? One of my good friends, like, he just moved up North Virginia, he coaching, you know what I'm saying? Defensive coach up there, he like doing his thing. And so I'm like, yo, that's an inspiration in itself to me because I used to cheer with this brother every day, like all day, you know what I'm saying?
And it gave you a spark to want to be better, want to do better, to want
Yeah,
to come
yeah, like
out and be a better
beyond,
version of
like,
you.
yeah, like beyond the fact that, my kids, obviously, like that's the first thing, you know what I'm saying? Beyond that, you know what I'm saying? It's just my homeboys that I seen, like, I was the one that made the bad choice. Like they wasn't like no knuckleheads into the streets. I mean, they grew up in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? But they wasn't into that stuff like that. So I'm like, if they can do it, I know I can, you know what I'm saying? It's just gonna take me a little bit more time to come home and do it. But I feel like I can do it.
So while you was there, what did you do to work on self?
I just did a lot of reading. Like I studied like I used to do a lot of studying like different religions because I always wanted to know like how the next man thought. Like what was his thinking process on these issues? Like if this was to happen, why would he think like that? Or why would he do this or say these things? And so I used to do a lot of studying on different religions and I was raised Christian, you know what I'm saying? But like in there I kind of dug deep into a lot of more things that gave you more visual, you know what I'm saying? Like more things like that make you think more about it, like really dig deep into them thoughts. And I used to meditate. I used to fast. Like I didn't fast all the time, but I fast from like sun up to sundown. There'd be certain things I would do, like I try to go a whole day without cursing, or just some little small things. And I constantly stayed working out. Like that was a big thing, like exercising and lifting weights, like that. That definitely helped you out a lot.
So basically, you worked on self a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Self, and then like just trying to find other ways to get money other than selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, selling drugs and money fast, it's quick, it's good, but what do you have to fall back on? Like, you got 401k plan, do you have good credit? You got insurance, health insurance, things like that. You just basically saving money for a lawyer for real, for real.
And everybody don't even say their money. So,
Yeah,
you know what I
what I
mean? So
mean?
They ain't even got the 401k money, or I'm gonna call it 401k money, but they ain't got the bond money. They ain't got the money for a lawyer.
Yeah.
They just going to prison. A lot of people just they like to splurge.
Uh-huh.
But you
Mhm.
started working on your, I like to say, mental currency,
Yeah.
because what you started doing was reading books. You started educating yourself, disciplining yourself.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move it forward. You are about to come home. You done already worked on a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty sure, listening to the way that you have spoken about what you were doing, you had a plan. What was your plan?
Plan was just first thing was to do is get my driver's license. That
Mhm.
was the first thing. Like my mother had told me, she was like, she had a truck. She like, yo, when you come home, I got this truck for you. Get your license. It's you. I'm saying, so I took the test 3 times. I ain't gonna sit right here and hold you. Like I took
Cool.
it 3 times. The third time, the lady told me, she like, yo, if you fail this on this time, you had to take another class. So I'm like, oh, all right. So I take the other class. Then what's up? She like, no, you got to take it again after that. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But she was like, and you got to pay for the class. So I ended up getting focused and I passed it, John. But my main thing was getting my license, because I ain't want no reason for the people to pull me over just because I have a familiar face, or and I not be legit. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make sure everything correct, paperwork, insurance, all that stuff. So when I obtained that, I really realized that now I have access to go places to fill out applications, and go do things. Like my main thing was for real. Like when I came home, I was gonna get my CDL. Like I was gonna go to CVCC, and I was gonna work part time. I had a job interview. I would work 6 in the morning to 10 in the morning. Then after I finished that, I was gonna go to CVCC get my CDL. But my mom had told me, she like, yo, go on down there to Flowers and put the application in. So went down there, put the application in, and they called me for the interview. And so once I seen like the pay and all that stuff, I'm like, well, it's at the crib, like I'm right here in the city, like I ain't really got to go too far. I said, I'm gonna chill on the CDL for a second. I'm gonna see what's going on with this.
So you end up coming home. You're still working at Flowers now, correct?
Hmm.
Uh, how I ended up finding you, I was looking on, somehow we Facebook friends,
Yeah.
and I looked at your page and I seen an ID, but then I seen a certificate right beside it, and it made me say, you know what, I want to reach out to him because he got a story.
Hmm.
He one interview people who have been formerly incarcerated, but people that I see as examples that can help other people who are either still incarcerated or people who done came home and changed their entire life.
Hmm.
And you're a success story. So one, I want to tip my hat to you, tell you, look, congratulations. It means a lot to me to see people like us actually come home and make the difference, because what we know about the media, what we know about the way they project us, they show people going back to prison all the time.
Hmm.
They don't project all the people who are like yourself, who come out, change their life for the better, but not just for them, for everybody else to see that, hey, I got a story. You might not tell it to everybody, but it needs to be told that
Hmm.
everybody else know that they can become the best versions of themselves. So right now, tell me, I know you done what was the certificate for?
Oh nah, that's my email address. Like that was on my page. Like when I log into on the computer, that's all my information. Like when I send my emails off to like my superintendent, my
Uh-huh.
plant manager, you know what I'm saying? Like people like that. Like that's my little setup.
Oh, so you were showing your setup right
Yeah,
beside your
like
ID.
yeah, I had cropped the picture because it was a whole like computer screen and everything too, but it was small, so I had cropped the picture.
You was just showing people your progress.
Yeah, like just letting them know, like, even though this is what I used to be, you know what I'm saying? That's not going to determine or define who I am now.
Like I
Like
said,
I ain't never know I would have like my name with an email connected to like a major corporation, you know what I'm saying?
what tell me some other plans you want to do. I'm assuming CDL might still be on the table, but tell me some other things that you want to see going forward, that you want to accomplish, because I can tell in you this ain't it.
Nah. I'm still going. I got a couple of homeboys that's been in the same situation I was in. One of them live in North Carolina. He got a couple of ventures going. He got clothing lines and stuff like that. Like I want to help him, like basically promote it. The best way I can with like the following and all that stuff, and just getting word of mouth out there because I went to school for business, like marketing and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like I want to go back in that aspect, like in that lane, and just like help a couple people out with that, getting their business and stuff together, But the CDL thing is it's kind of still on the table, you know what I'm saying. But as with the job, it's taking a lot. It's taking a lot with that, so I'm focusing on that. And my kids, I just want to make sure they good. Like with school, like that's my main thing. I tell them every day, like, let's go to school, do what you're supposed to do, and I'm gonna make sure everything else straight. You know what I'm saying? Because I done seen a lot of people go to school and just play with it, like they joke around with it. And the education is definitely important. It's definitely important. Like it's a lot of things that I don't really necessarily agree with the teachings, but yet and still it is what it is. That's some things me and them can talk about outside of school that I want to help them out, like enlighten their mind, like pertaining to how they carry themselves when they get approached by law enforcement and things like that. How to speak to people. It's always about first impressions. First impressions is everything. So
Mhm.
if you come off snobby or you get that bad vibe off somebody, they always gonna feel that way for the rest of their life towards you. Even though from that day on you might be a good person. They're like, look, now the first time I met that dude or that girl, I ain't like him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to teach them to be, respectful and stuff like that. Like, but my mother and my family, they did a good job, and they mothers, did a good job with them pertaining to how to speak and being respectful. So I kind of knew that they was kind of in good hands when I was gone for a little bit of time.
Once again, I commend you
Thank
uh,
you.
for, like I said, reading a lot of books. A lot of us do go in and read, whether it be hood books or whether it be educational stuff that push your mind forward. The Even right now, I see the importance of people reading. It furthers your mind from where you're at to somewhere you might not be able to be at, but you get to learn about it. You get to learn different things, what you can become,
Mhm.
and you'll, like I said, you'll become a success story by elevating yourself. Yes, through a hard time, but becoming what you are now. And people like, once again, people like yourself have to be seen. If it's not, yes, you do get a group of people that continue to go back to prison. But when you see people like you who come home and do better, people know that they can become. You only heard your homies doing better, and that inspired you to be better. Your kids push you to be better. These are your reasons, your examples, your striving. And for that, that's the reason why I tip my hat to you. If there's anything that you could tell somebody young, a word of wisdom, what would you give them?
I mean, just stick to your goals. Like really set a plan and set forth with that plan. Like don't think things is gonna get handed to you. It's not. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take it a day at a time. You gotta crawl if you can walk. You know what I'm saying? All that. So just don't rush into things. Don't try to make. Just don't compete with the next man. You know what I'm saying? Compete with yourself if anything. Like don't try to be better than yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like keep your mind, your eye, what is it, your eyes on the prize, all that good stuff. Like real talk, like because that stuff they doing now, them youngest man, that gun slinging and all that stuff, like it ain't worth it. Like they ain't seen the inside of the cell. Like they ain't been through that stuff. So they just automatically thinking that, it's cool to do that. Like back in the day, we used to fight, you know what I'm saying? We pull up and beat you up or we get beat up, you know what I'm saying? Either way, like that's all it was. Like people was walking away, you know what I'm saying? Like nowadays you got 2, 3 people ain't going home, you know what I'm saying, on both ends, like as in somebody deceased and they in prison for the rest of their life, you know what I mean? So it just put them guns down, pick up a book for real, pick up them ballots, go vote. Because at the end of the day, like you can't control nothing that goes on within your city if you don't put them ballots in. You know what I'm saying? Like make sure you register, make sure everything's straight. Like real talk.
Look, I appreciate everything you've done, everything you've said, and me and you're gonna be building because there's a lot in you. So this is Forward Progress. That is John Hall Sr. My name is Carlos Walker. Thank y'all for participating.